Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a truly special online event today. It's called The Lost Mysteries of Mother Mary. Meet Mother Mary as High Priestess for a guided experience that returns her power and yours. My name is Stephen Dine. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network. And for years now, we've done a lot of deep explorations into Mary Magdalene, and we've also done stuff with Yeshua and the deeper Christine path. But we have not done a deep dive into the mysteries of Mother Mary, which is really, it's actually a big hole in what we've done. And we're going to get to go into these mysteries with a truly remarkable teacher today. She's somebody I've known for over 2 decades now and have really respected her scholarship, her spiritual wisdom, and the depth to which she really takes this exploration. So I think you're going to be really blown away, frankly, by what we hear today. And if you are excited, we're going to have a brand new course launching with her that we'll share more about towards the end of the hour. So the faculty that I'm talking about is named Marguerite Mary Rigoglioso. She's an award-winning author and the founder of Seven Sisters Mystery School. And she's really been at the forefront of this marriage between deep scholarship and awakened practice that I think is going to bear incredible fruit for all of us. So thank you, Marguerite, for all your explorations and your deep scholarship and adventures into the mysteries that you're going to share today.
Thank you, Stephen. I am truly excited to be in conversation with you about this today.
Well, let's begin our time together with a bit about your journey, particularly into the mysteries of Mother Mary.
Yeah, ultimately, I came into this work in a very personal way. When I was 10 years old, you may or may not know, but my mother passed away. And so that loss really brought me into direct contact with the mysteries of the soul and those deeper questions of life, death, the divine, puts you right in there. And interestingly, my mother's name was Marie Dolores,
Hmm.
meaning Mary of the Sorrows. Yeah. And years later, that became deeply meaningful as I began to encounter my mother's presence beyond the veil, including in experiences that unfolded in connection with Mother Mary herself. And over time, I came to feel that my mother and I shared a kind of destiny in working with Mary's field, particularly around the healing of sorrow and the restoration of what I now understand as the Sophia Christos light in our world. I was raised Catholic, but like many people, I had largely rejected Mother Mary because of the really limited role she was presented in. So my path back to her didn't begin through religion, it began through direct experience of the sacred feminine more broadly. When I was in my 30s, I was drawn into women's spirituality. I was traveling to sacred sites in Europe, participating in a powerful women's spirituality program in the Boston area. And I was really immersing myself in study and practice. And through that, I first encountered the hidden power of Mary Magdalene. And then gradually, Mother Mary, what I sometimes call discovering the goddesses in my own backyard.
Mm.
So I had already begun teaching about Mary Magdalene in the 90s, around the time Margaret Starbird's book was emerging. And all of those explorations led me into graduate studies at the California Institute of Integral Studies in the San Francisco Bay Area, which you know well, where I completed both my master's and PhD in philosophy and religion. And during that time, I was engaging both academically and experientially, researching early traditions of the sacred feminine while also working ceremonially with these lineages, including through sacred ritual contexts. And alongside this, I began uncovering something that became central to my work, the tradition of divine or miraculous conception as an actual priestess practice in the ancient world and across cultures. So this became the focus of my dissertation and my first two books. And at a certain point, I had to set aside the Mary material from that and focus on ancient Greece because the research was becoming so vast. But I did continue teaching on Mother Mary in universities and grad programs in the Bay Area, as well as in spiritual and ceremonial communities, especially around the Bay Area, but more extensively. And then in 2012, I founded Seven Sisters Mystery School as a kind of a home for this work and its ongoing evolution, including, the connection between the Sophia Christos and Marian mission and our star allies, namely the Seven Sisters. And eventually I brought this research and lived experience together into my books on Mary the mystery tradition of miraculous conception, and then more recently, the secret life of Mother Mary. And I've woven a lot of this into my Mary Magdalene priestess training. And now with this course with Shift, I feel like I'm entering an even
Hmm.
deep phase of the work, because what continues to unfold isn't just historical insight, but a living relationship and a growing recognition of how relevant Mother Mary's full presence is for the world we're living in now.
Mm. Well, it's really clear, like you have orchestrated this whole incarnation to deliver the kind of wisdom that you're going to be sharing here today and in your upcoming course. And so I want to sort of like ask of so often we sort of almost have like Mother Mary parachute in out of nowhere. She's just the immaculate, blessed with this divine child who then becomes like in the spotlight, and Mother Mary's more the kind of supporting character or something. But you've really situated her as a lineage carrier, part of these deeper mysteries, Immaculate Conception. Maybe share a little bit about your understanding at this point of the lineage that she was carrying and how that then informed her ability to sort of bring forth the Christos, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, the canonical material has very little about her. I mean, she enters and, was present at the wedding of Cana and at the cross, and that's kind of it. But when you look into some of these other documents about her that were, largely rejected by the Catholic Church, but still kind of in the tradition, boy, you find out a heck of a lot. I mean, there are biographies about her. There is an original gospel about her. And this is where I started piecing together how amazing she is, how she was really the orchestrator of the entire Christos mission, the advent of Christ coming to the planet, the teacher of Mother Mary, the teacher of all those who were around Christ before, during, and after the resurrection, and so forth. So there is strong evidence for this. And on top of it, I then connected in with the work of the late Hindu saint Sri Kaleshwar, who, on his own, probably not knowing any of these materials, but through his intuitional knowing, states that Mother Mary is the greatest master who ever walked the planet, bar none, including Jesus, because she was the bringer of Jesus, she was the teacher of Jesus, and she was the resurrector of Jesus. So that's just a little bit of tidbits
Wow.
there.
That
Okay.
gives me chills.
Yeah.
So, and maybe share a little bit more about the priestess function for those who are less kind of steeped in this, like that how, what kind of role were this lineage of priestesses playing within the society?
Yeah, I mean, she came from a lineage of women who knew divine birth. She was divinely born of her mother, Anne. And then prior to that, we have the record of Sarah, who divinely gave birth to Isaac. So this is something that was going on for generations, centuries, maybe even thousands of years. And so she comes in through this. So she's already divinely born by her mother. She was virgin born by her mother, which means she was like an avatar already. And with that and the teachings that she went through, Sri Kaleshwar says through lifetimes, um, she really perfected her soul, her spiritual skills, her knowledge. So she was a healer, a great healer. She was an esoteric spiritual teacher of the mysteries of the teachings of love, how to get along with people at the basic level, and how to ascend your soul essentially at the end of your life. She was an exorcist. She was a myrrh carrier. She was teaching with Magdalene how to carry the myrrh, meaning the sacred substances, meaning the sacred hallucinogens, okay, to help open people's consciousness during ritual. So those are some of the ways that she was expressing her priestesshood. And then she had a tremendous role, according to Sri Kaleshwar, in the resurrection of Jesus, in that she used her womb powers literally to resurrect him, body and soul, back onto the planet. And so, that's a very, very deep mystery, but one that we don't hear about because we only hear the half of that she brought Jesus in, not that she re-brought him in or resurrected him. Whatever your beliefs are, did he, ascend out of his body, or did he stay on the planet and go to India? Whatever the case may be, she was involved in that.
I want to ask about the Immaculate Conception and the parthenogenesis. I think is the technical term for it. Is like, so why was this such an important practice to sort of like have a divine birth, or it wasn't just Jesus, but it was like sort of part of a lineage. Like what was the point of it, if you will?
Yeah, and this lineage wasn't the only lineage. This is all over Greece. This is all over Egypt. This is all over Native American traditions, really all around the world, that women have been bringing in children through, quote, non-ordinary means, meaning they do not have intimate sexual relations with a man. They know how to work with their own eggs and the light and sound interface and the biological interface, working in connection with the angelic forces to bring in a being that is of a higher order in order to help humanity evolve, especially at times when humanity has really started going down the tubes, like the Roman Empire. Okay, so periodically, so these women have known on the planet how to give birth to these high holy beings, gods in human form, goddesses in human form, so that these beings could be walking around with us, among us, and helping us say, hey, remember this way of being, or let me teach you that, in order for your healing and in order for the spiritual evolution of humanity to its next dimension of consciousness.
Hmm. Your scholarship in this arena is obviously breaking a lot of ground, and you've been doing it for quite a while. I mean, do you feel like there's more openness to this possibility since it's claimed and talked about in multiple lineages and texts? And do you feel like it's sort of starting to break through that this is like a real human possibility?
Yes, I do see that happening. And I've known people who claim to have had divine conceptions. Okay. Some of them they were ritually involved, and some of them they didn't engage in ritual to do it. But I do talk about that in the mystery tradition of miraculous conception. A few of the women who are known, and so this is something that has really gone underground largely in the last 2,000 years, especially because of various intentional intelligences on the planet who don't want this sort of thing to be happening. So what has to happen is a veiling of a scientific veiling of over the reality of it, that it's just this is just not possible. And then a veiling over the actual spiritual mechanisms that a woman would need to go through and the trainings that she would need to go through in order for this to happen, which I discovered, Mother Mary did go through those trainings. So there's been really a number of things going on to suppress this information. But when I talk to people, and even there's a man, Den Poitras, who's written a book about parthenogenesis. He totally understands and talks about the cross-cultural aspect of virgin birth. And when I talk to people like him and many women, really, they immediately just have that ding, yes, that is true. Or some of them in their altered states of consciousness have had these realizations or experiences and so forth. So I think we are lifting the veil on this now in this
Hmm.
time.
Well, I think that whole area is so fascinating, but let's go to more aspects about what are the qualities of Mary that you feel like were really quite evident in some of these alternative sources of knowing about her, from text to direct knowing, that sort of have gotten sort of sidelined in this kind of more demure, kind of soft and sweet, just kind of like just gentle mother, if you will. Like, what's some of the power that's been sort of, removed in a way from her image?
Oh yeah, she was a ceremonial leader. I mean, she was almost like the equivalent of the rabbis. She would take over the functions of the rabbis using the censer to cast the myrrh into the gathering, the spiritual gathering, the ceremony. She would invoke the divine. She would call the people. She was in a strong leadership position. She would also teach the people. There were books attributed to her that she would give to others. She was the mother node after the resurrection, sending people out to teach about what the essence of what Jesus was all about, which is, divine love, opening your consciousness, accumulating and awakening your own powers of healing and so forth. And she would bring them back at Easter time, so to speak, to mentor them, right? Um, she knew how to do deep level healings. There are all these miracle healings that are associated with her. And she herself had essentially an ascension. She pretty much went rainbow body. There were only the wrappings found in her tomb after her passing, and one of the things we're going to talk about in the course that I'm doing with Shift is what that passage was like for her into the other dimension, and how it is that she was able to do that, those kinds of things. So she was a very, very strong presence, the absolute head of the early Christian community, especially after Jesus had his resurrection.
Yes, say a little bit more about that. I understand that she kind of moved to Turkey and a lot of people followed her. Maybe share more about like her role in that kind of early formative period for what followed the crucifixion.
Yeah, I mean, she was in Jerusalem for a while. Then she did go to Ephesus, to Turkey. And she, there's supposedly her house there. They have found, located her little house. And interestingly, there's a replica of it in Vermont. You cannot believe this. I mean, I literally went to see it. And so she was, again, she was not just like in a continual prayerful state, but she had these women who were followers of her, right? They were the women who decided to become celibate and support her, and she was teaching them, and she was teaching the entire group of the men and the women. We hear that Magdalene was the head of the women and Peter was the head of the men, but she was the head of them all. So there had to have been continual conversations and breaking of bread, and perhaps she was also engaged in the helping of people to pass out of their bodies through the anointing of the myrrh and the compounds that were associated with the myrrh, right? So some of this we have to fill in, but the basic structure of what she was doing is there in these texts.
Hmm. Let's share a little bit more about like what you see as people like get into deeper relationship with the authentic Mary, Mother Mary, that like what starts to open in them as a result. It's almost like the energetic activation that comes from this relationship.
Yeah. You know, in the Gospel of Philip, there's this segment which says that as you see the masters in higher and higher ways, you become higher and higher. And as you become higher and higher, you begin to see them in higher and higher ways. So it's this figure eight that's starting to go on now. So, what does this mean for us personally? Well, Mother Mary, again, yes, she is a deep mother figure. And so many of us need that mothering, that healing, that coming to wholeness and inner coherence, that comfort. So she allows for that, and this is something that I call upon her a lot for. But then she is a teacher on the inner planes for those who want to learn about these mysteries. She's a teacher of love. She's a teacher of womb knowledge. She's a teacher of, how to do these healings, right? So she's available. She's not long gone. She's not way up there. She's just a breath away, essentially. And so that's, what my work has been about. That's what we're going to be doing in the course with Shift and so forth, is helping people to really feel that personal emotional connection with her for the healing, and then that spiritual esoteric connection with her for the expansion and the awakening.
Hmm. I want to ask you about just the whole authority and power. And so, like, how have you seen, particularly because, Jesus' life got framed in a patriarchal way by the Roman Empire and whatnot. Sort of like this reclamation, what does it do with women's sense of authority, sovereignty when they kind of really establish this relationship with Mary?
Yeah, it empowers them. it it gives a kind of a boldness, because as with Mary Magdalene, right, over the last 40, 50 years, as women have unveiled her and found out, oh, she wasn't a prostitute, she was actually a priestess. And what was she doing? well, then you can figure out, gee, how can I do those things, right? It emboldens you to take on that kind of authority for yourself, and it encourages and inspires you to find out, what are these teachings? How can I expand my mind, my consciousness, my heart, right? So Mother Mary's, it's really important that we see Mother Mary in her authentic way so that we can see ourselves in that way. Because
Hmm.
what I've gotten year after year from her is she's just but a mirror.
Mm.
Her whole thing is, look, this is not about me. This is about you. I am just a possibility of becoming, right? What you can become. And I'm just encouraging you to see what's already inside of you and awaken it so that you can have a better life and your world can evolve to a new level.
That's a powerful way to view her, just as this kind of awakened mirror that calls you into your own fullness. You mentioned something about the sort of womb centers and sort of there's a transmission or activation of that, and we have done some programming around the womb centers, but I'd love to hear you, like from your perspective, that mirroring of that kind of higher octave or higher expression of the womb center, particularly for women. What unfolds when that activates?
Yes. So, what Mother Mary shows us and exemplifies, as does Magdalene, is the absolute power of the womb that includes conception of children and goes far beyond that. It is conception of avatar children, divine children. Um, and it is drawing on the energies of mother divine through the womb, because when you're born with a womb, and men have the fragrance of this too within their bodies, but because women have the womb structure, it's stronger. You can pull through the energy of divine mother through a kind of like a 0 point in your womb,
Hmm.
and yeah, the nada bindu point, and transmit it out into the world in forms of creativity, things you're producing, healings that you can give to others, um, connection with the soulmate, tantric union, that kind of thing. Now, Mother Mary's choice was really to have the inner tantra, so that is another path. Magdalene chose to have the complementary tantra, but Mother Mary's was about, hey, what does it mean to become yin yang within myself fully, totally, completely? Those are part of the mysteries of the womb that we're going to be looking at.
Hmm. Well, this is all so exciting. I can just keep asking you questions, but I know you also wanted to guide us in a bit of an experiential where we really taste that this depth of connection that's possible with her presence. So why don't we do that now?
Yes, beautiful. All right. So this is a Mother Mary womb heart journey for to support what you're facing right now. So let's just begin by arriving. And if it feels comfortable, just allow your eyes to close. Take a slow breath in, a soft breath out. Again, breathing in and exhaling, letting the body begin to settle. Noticing how quickly your body can settle, actually. Allowing the shoulders to drop, your jaw to soften. Just letting yourself be here. Bring your awareness now into your body. Feel the weight of yourself being held by the chair, by Mother Earth. And just notice that support is already here. You don't have to create it. You only have to allow yourself to receive it. Just sinking into that embrace of Mother Earth. And now I invite you to gently bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your womb space or your hara, your lower belly, because this is for all people. And with your hands resting lightly there, just let your awareness rest in these two centers. the heart, the womb, or the hara. Two places in you that you already know far more than the thinking mind, really. Just take a slow breath into both spaces. As you inhale, imagine a soft opening in them. And as you exhale, just let something unnecessary release. Again, breathing in, quiet opening. Breathing out, a deeper softening. And as you come to mindful breathing, just imagine a soft golden rose light beginning to glow in your heart. Maybe this is even something you are remembering. Just allow this soft golden rose light glowing in your heart. And now with each breath in, the light expands, and with each breath out, it's extending from your heart to your womb or hara, forming a subtle connection. Inhaling the expansion of the light, exhaling the light to your womb or hara, feeling a living pathway between these two centers of your body. You may begin to notice that your body is becoming a little more receptive, more available, more aware, without any effort at all. And as you're feeling that light, that flow, that connectivity between heart and womb, heart and hara, very simply, if it feels right, you may silently say, "Blessed Mother Mary, meet me here." And don't feel you have to make anything happen. Just notice what begins to shift. And you're just allowing yourself to be met by this beautiful, supportive presence. Or maybe you simply just feel a warmth or a quieting. And even if you feel very little, something's already responding. And now gently bring to awareness a situation in your life where there's some tension, some uncertainty, something unresolved, something real, but not overwhelming. Okay. And notice where this lives in your body. Just notice without changing that right now. And now allow Mother Mary to meet you in this exact place, right here as you are. You may sense her beside you or around you or touching you, or just a field of awareness that knows you and is not overwhelmed by what you are carrying. And as you breathe and feel this presence, notice what begins to happen when you're no longer holding this alone. She's with you. There may be a softening, a loosening, a little bit of a reordering, maybe a sense that something in you can finally exhale. And as you breathe and receive and soften, you may gently ask, "Mother Mary, what would you have me know here?" And then just listen, not with your mind, but with your body, with your heart, your womb or hara. It may be that you receive a word, a feeling, a shift in perspective, or just a deepening sense of being accompanied. Just receive what it is now. Mother Mary, what would you have me know here? And now let this support move through you. Take a slow inhale into your heart and womb or hara. And as you exhale, imagine this golden rose presence beginning to circulate through your entire body. Inhaling into your heart and womb and exhaling the golden rose presence, circulating through your body, touching places that have felt tight or tired or alone. Inhale, receiving. Exhale, allowing this light to move. One last time. Inhale. And exhale, letting this presence settle as something that now belongs in you. Good, and now gently begin to return, bringing your awareness back to your breath, your body, the space around you. And just recognize that this connection with Mother Mary, with your inner self, isn't something distant. It's something you can return to simply by pausing, placing awareness in your heart and womb or hara, and allowing yourself to be met again and again. Just take one final breath, and when you're ready, slowly open your eyes.
Hmm.
Ah,
Beautiful. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Having this very clear sense of like Mother Mary, like a triangle with like Mother Mary and Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and this kind of like, oh, just really realizing like she holds the kind of harmonic of masculine and feminine union sort of by the divine conception and the relationship with both kind of the wholeness that is underpinning that polarity. And I was just like, oh, that's really beautiful.
Yes, perceptively put. That is a great thing. She's like the triangle at the apex of the triangle, and yet they're all the apex, They're
Yeah.
this geometry of
Yeah.
union.
Yeah, and when I was feeling that, I could really feel it's the equality. Like, so I think we've defined culturally more the relationship to Jesus, but this bond between Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene is sort of like, not talked about in a certain way, but it's like it felt like, oh, that actually was sort of co-equal in a way.
That's right. Yes, I'm glad you had that experience. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So share a little bit more about that because you really see that as a sisterhood that was part of the same lineage and sort of had a deep
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why they're both called Mary. It wasn't just, oh, their parents were like, let's just use the same name. It's Mary comes from the Egyptian Mary, which means divine love, or the one who is loved by the divine. It's all connected with love. And basically what it means is a priestess of love, the love mysteries, and the womb knowledge. And
Hmm.
was applied in ancient Greece, in ancient Egypt, before them and during and afterwards. So the Marys are a lineage. They are a priestess lineage. Magdalene was one. Mother Mary was one. There are other Marys. Mother Mary's sister. That's a little curiosity.
Hmm.
She had a half sister who was also born by her mother Anne or Hannah, and they all walked around Jesus. The three of them were a triangle walking around Jesus. We hear in the Gospel of Philip that they walked with Jesus. So this Mary lineage is so powerful. Um, it is describing priestesses who go backward and forward in time, and it's something that we are reclaiming now, and that the Marys really exemplified together, working together.
Say a little more about the reclaiming now. So, I mean, you're obviously at the epicenter of a lot of this reclamation work and mystery schools and Mary Magdalene teachings. And so, what are you seeing kind of flowering right now in this emergent sense of a deeper knowledge of Mother Mary as priestess and sort of the reanimation of those lineages now?
Yeah, I mean, it corresponds with the activation of the priestess power that has been happening on the planet, especially in the United States for a few decades now, with the divine feminine in general. But when we look at the Marys, it's almost like there's like I felt a sense of relief that, oh, I could unify all my goddess work with the Mary's work, and I'm not making any sort of transgression. They're all part of this same piece. And because I was brought up in a Christian tradition, I can resource that, how my mystical self as a child sitting in church, which was kind of boring for me, but I can resource now, from what was already there in my life. And there's a strength in that for a lot of people who were brought up in Christian denominations, but even for those who weren't, to awaken to these great historically attested female masters is incredible, because it starts helping us shine the light on, well, what can we do as empowered spiritual women on the planet, right? What
Mhm.
are, what are we doing to help, with this great evolution as they came in, 2,000 years ago or so, to help humanity at a very difficult time. So we are once again doing that, and so there is the reawakening of the Mary lineage. Some people call it the lineage of the rose, and it's women who really want to be in their spiritual mission and ministry in this life. They're not attached to any dogmatic or traditional views or definitions of these women or this lineage, but they're getting to the stream of information underneath it once more. They're drinking from that, and they're offering from that well to
Mm.
others in the world. And this is a real, almost, I would say, career path for a lot of women,
Mhm.
to step into their priestesshood.
Wow, really beautifully described. And I mean, so in many ways, the news cycles that we see that are so painful to witness are like the dysfunction played out of the patriarchy played out in really destructive ways. And so the healing path of the empowered feminine is just even more important medicine at this moment we're in right now.
Well put, Stephen. Well put. It's the time is now. We are here. And the Marys are really almost like having a renaissance now among us,
Mhm.
to support us, not in becoming any religion. They're just here to support us in awakening to what's possible in becoming multidimensional beings.
Mm. And also helping to heal some of the legacy of trauma that remains. I mean, share a little bit more about how that's unfolded for you in terms of like awakening your own healing knowledge too through this path of the Marys.
Oh my gosh. I mean, first of all, it's been so deeply personal. I still wake up with anxiety or this or that. And the first thing I do is call Mother Mary to me, just please hold me. And then I ask Mary Magdalene to put her hand on my heart. And I might ask Yeshua to, clear the space or whatever. And I tell you, I immediately feel a shift with that. So, like, my little girl is still working out her healing. And then on my higher self level, I'm now bringing in some of these guided journeys, some of these guided meditations, some of these guided teachings, some of these understandings about what is needed from the Mary perspective for our deep personal healing.
Mm.
Okay. So, um, it's it's such a valuable resource. It's just right here. And if we just strip away all of that problematic, limiting view of them, the hijack, as I call it, in a way, we have these masters who are here right now for our times, for that trauma healing and for that acceleration and amplification.
Mm. Well, Marguerite, I love talking to you. I feel like it just opens paradigms of possibilities, and you're just such a powerful emissary for this work. And so I want to talk now about your upcoming course, which is a really unique, and I can't believe we haven't done it yet. This is such an important medicine for the moment. And so we're really blessed that Marguerite has agreed to take all this scholarship and practice and synthesize it into a 7-week program that's going to activate a deep relationship with these mysteries, with Mother Mary, as an empowerment guide, as a priestess, as an inspired, enlightened exemplar for us to sort of do the awakening and healing now required. So the course is called Reclaiming Mother Mary's Lost Mysteries. Access her deep power to heal the past and step into your spiritual purpose. You can find it at the URL mysteriesofmary.com, mysteriesofmary.com. There's no prerequisites for this. Marguerite is going to lay the foundations that you need to really embark on this deep journey of transformation. And so, Marguerite, I'd love for you to share in your own words some of your intentions for what people will come away with, and then let's go through the modules and give a taste of the itinerary.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can't help but feel, Stephen, that there's a kind of a just a divine timing for this. Why now with shift? Well, I just feel like Mother Mary is, I don't know, orchestrating things. But my intention is really to help people come into a living embodied relationship with her, not as an idea or a distant figure or a dogmatic figure, but a real presence of wisdom, of love, of guidance, who can support our lives in tangible ways, and also to really help us recognize that this fuller unveiling of Mother Mary isn't only personally meaningful, but it's part of a much larger shift in our world, a restoration of the divine feminine that has profound implications for our collective healing and evolution. But again, on that personal level, I want people to leave not only with a deeper understanding of who Mary truly is, but with a felt experience of the greater steadiness and clarity that comes from connecting with her and then within themselves. And my hope is that this work is going to help soften the places of overwhelm or trauma or isolation for people, while also awakening a deeper sense of inner authority and compassion, which is so needed in our world today, and purpose, so that everybody can begin to move through their lives with more resilience and a genuine capacity to bring love into these situations that need it the most, which is a very big deal right now.
Mm. What beautiful intentions for the program. So let's go through and give at least a little glimpse of what you're going to be doing. So module 1 is experience the true Mary and embrace her as a mentor and personal healer.
Yeah, so we're going to begin developing that living relationship with Mother Mary as this source of healing, connecting with her evolutionary expanded view that's really always dwelt underneath the surface of traditional religious narratives, but has been hidden. And so by finding out who she was as a healer and guide, we're going to awaken doorways within ourselves. And then we're going to go through various journeys and processes to connect with her authentic, mystical presence, to apply it in our own lives and receive that care that we all deeply need right now.
Module 2, uncover Mary's sacred womb wisdom to awaken your creative power.
Okay, so here's where we are going to look at the womb as that center of creative and spiritual power, far beyond traditional interpretations. We're going to discover the deeper esoteric understanding of Mary's role in divine conception and the resurrection of Jesus, and how her womb consciousness was understood in esoteric traditions as an active force in conception, gestation, and transformation, and why this matters for your own capacity to create and evolve. So we're going to learn how to awaken even further this center within yourself, and whatever your gender, by the way, because as I mentioned, people of all genders have that fragrance of the womb within. And so it's a matter of opening this and strengthening it.
Module 3, connect with Mary's Sacred Heart to embody divine feminine love.
All right. So we're going to tune right into that heart, her heart, our heart as a living field of divine feminine love, exploring how her heart consciousness embodies the fusion that we want for ourselves of compassion, strength, unwavering presence, and why this frequency is essential for navigating our lives and our relationships. So, we're going to learn how to open and stabilize and embody this sacred heart frequency within ourselves.
Module 4, explore Mary's journey beyond the veil to transform your relationship with death and life transitions.
Yeah, so this is something we rarely look into, which is Mother Mary's transition beyond death as a conscious initiated passage. So we're going to look at that as it has been written about in her biographies, um, looking at it as a pathway of awareness for ourselves and understanding why this matters for our own relationship with death and the soul's continuity. So we're going to learn how to approach these thresholds with greater clarity and presence.
Module 5, experience the Mary Christ Sophia union to heal the feminine masculine split within.
Yeah, this is exploring Mary as an embodiment of Divine Mother Sophia and the great goddess, and discovering how her consciousness lives within each of us as a potential for inner union. So we're going to be exploring how the sacred feminine and masculine are meant to harmonize within the human being and overcome these inherited spiritual or cultural distortions that we're seeing all around us. We're going to learn how to awaken this integrated field of intelligence and presence so that we can feel a deeper sense of inner wholeness and alignment and that kind of whole sacred coherence.
Module 6, discover Mary as a cosmic guide and your bridge to higher wisdom.
Yes, we're going to be exploring Mary as an emissary whose role extends beyond limited earth based religious conceptions. We're going to discover how certain esoteric streams understand her as a bridge between humanity and higher realms of wisdom, including subtle connections to star based lineages, such as the Pleiades, and why this expanded perspective matters for our spiritual evolution personally and as a humanity. So we're going to learn how to open to these broader fields of connection and guidance and feel this larger field of intelligence and support with Mary as that helpful bridge.
That's really cool. I'm not as aware of those lineages, so that's a lot of fascinating information. Module 7, become a living expression of Mary by embodying compassion, leadership, and service.
Yeah, so this is really the culmination. We're going to be integrating our connection with Mary as a living presence and really begin to embody her qualities in our everyday life. We will explore what it means to move beyond, inspiration into living this, walking this, allowing the compassion, the clarity, the spiritual leadership to take form in authentic ways, whatever that might be for each of us. So we're really going to strengthen in radiating the compassion that's needed today, in being clear, in evincing this strength in real world situations.
Well, what a beautiful program that you've created, Marguerite. I think that it's amazing that we haven't done this yet with you because it is such important knowledge, wisdom, and practice for this moment. So again, there's more detail on each of these modules at mysteriesofmary.com, mysteriesofmary.com. So we've described the seven 90-minute live sessions, which are each going to have time to do practices together, to do guided visualizations and meditations, to have quick questions with Marguerite. You also get recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts, which are great to study and highlight for years to come. There are weekly practices to engage, which are really important to get the spiritual essence from this program, as well as a community group to support you and deepen your experience and really offer the kind of positive mirroring that can help you really blossom in this work. So, in addition to those dimensions, there's also a number of bonuses that Marguerite has been very generous in providing. There's a audio narration of sacred text that she's created called Mary's Most Famous Gospel. So this sounds like it goes into one of those gospels that has largely been shielded from the traditional canon. Share a little bit more about that.
Yes, this is one of the oldest and most important early texts about Mother Mary. It's often called the Infancy Gospel of James. Where is Mary in that? It was originally called Birth of Mary. All right, but this gospel is so important to how she was born, who she is. And the reading of it gives you a felt sense of her early life, okay, her temple training, the deeper mystical context of her story. So we're going to, have a more of a kind of a lived experience in her reality at her time in history.
So cool. The second bonus is also a guided audio meditation. This is a walking with Mother Mary, a daily prayer and invocation. Share more about that bonus.
Yes, it helps you to begin experiencing Mother Mary as that living presence that you can actually connect with in your own inner world. It's a simple practice, but a powerful one. It shows you how to invite her into your heart and body so that her guidance, her steadiness, her love can become something you genuinely feel and walk with in your daily life. And you can go back to it again and again.
Mm. Beautiful extra bonus. And then there's one final bonus, which I think is really goes to the heart of what we were just talking about earlier. It's called The Bond Between Mary and Magdalene, Role Models of a Harmonious Sacred Sisterhood. There's a full video presentation and guided practice that Marguerite's created. Do you want to share more about that?
Yes, this is a teaching with amazing images where I explore the relationship between these two Marys in a way we basically have not heard about as a deep spiritual collaboration and a sacred sisterhood. It opens up a really powerful model of feminine mentorship and partnership. And it offers healing for that sisterhood wound that so many of us have experienced. And it includes a guided experience to help you actually feel and bring that frequency into your own life and relationships.
That's an amazing bonus, and that's actually our special bonus you get when you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. So that really gives you the encouragement to go to mysteriesofmary.com, read through the page, tune in with what you've heard today, and if you get the sense to move forward today, then you get that special, really amazing bonus, the bond between Mary and Magdalene, role models of harmonious sacred sisterhood. So we are super excited for this program. I feel blessed that we are getting to produce this with you, and we've kept the investment very accessible. It's just three payments of $128, or you can save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start June 3rd and run Wednesdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. There's some great testimonials on the page from some of the most eminent scholars and teachers in the space who just loved Marguerite and her work, and also students who have studied with her. I love this. Marguerite is a holy conduit who proclaims a message so timely, so graceful, and so filled with truth that my hands tremble as I read her books. That's from fellow Shift Network teacher Anaya Sophia, I'm sorry. And so, yeah, there's amazing testimonials, and you get the benefit of this lifetime of scholarship and practice and initiation and transmission. You're really getting to the full transmission of this wisdom through Marguerite's hands and voice and embodiment. So you are, I think, going to be truly blessed. And I really believe that this is important medicine for this moment. There's so much chaos in the world. We need to anchor in our highest wisdom now. We need to be conduits for the healing of our world. We need to be ushering in a new era out of the ashes of some of what is breaking down, and that this work is at the heart of it. So again, it's all at mysteriesofmary.com. And if you sign up by midnight tonight, you are going to get the bond between Mary and Magdalene, role models of harmonious sacred sisterhood. So, Marguerite, this has been a super exciting and very powerful hour with you. Anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering doing the full course with you?
Oh, well, yes, echoing what you've been saying here, We are living in a time when many people are being asked to find deeper sources of strength and clarity and love within themselves. So, my intention with this course is to offer a pathway into that through our planet's great female master. And this is a path that is grounded, it's embodied, it's genuinely supportive. So, if you feel called to grow in that way and to bring more of that presence into your life and into the world, I would love to have you join us.
Hmm. Well, thank you for that warm invitation and just the depth of everything you've shared today. So, Marguerite, you're a blessing. And thank you all for joining us. And again, if you would like to consider going further, it's all at mysteriesofmary.com. And if you choose to do so today, you're going to get that special presentation on the bond between Mary and Magdalene, role models of harmonious sacred sisterhood. So thank you, Marguerite. Thank you all for joining. Many blessings.